Keppnin titilinn Sterkasti maður heims vekur jafnan mikla athygli hér á landi, enda standa Íslendingar sig afburða vel á þessum vettvangi. Hér fer á eftir þáttur sem breska ríkissjónvarpi gerði með aðstoð íslenska sjónvarpsins keppnina Sterkasti maður heims 1992. En keppnin fór fram hér á landi í október síðastliðnum.
Welcome to this year's World's Strongest Man. It takes place in the land of ice and fire. It's Iceland. It's a raw and sometimes awesome landscape, and it's still being formed by volcanic and glacial activity. 4/5 of the countryside is still uninhabited ever since the Vikings landed here over 1,000 years ago. Well, 3 days of very intense competition will climax here in Þingeyjar, and it's on this site where the world's oldest parliament was formed in the 10th century. Also on this site, we have two gigantic land masses separated by a fault in the Earth's crust. And it was here that the very heart of that early Icelandic civilization began beating, with the formation of their laws, their language, their religion, and of course the Icelandic sagas. Part of that folklore tells of human achievement and enormous trials of strength. And our 10 competitors will not only be straining every muscle fibre in their body against each other, but also they'll be doing battle against the elements as well. The first is Iceland's Magnus Ver Magnusson. He's the defending champion. Home territory could be crucial if this 20th century Viking is to retain his title. Herrid Badenhorst is the first South African to take part in World's Strongest Man. His credentials are impeccable. He's a world record holder in powerlifting. Canada's Greg Ernst thrives on tests of human power and strength. His greatest ever feat in lifting 2 tons of live oxen. Ilkka Kinnunen, the first of Finland's competitors, has all the physical qualities for success, but he lacks experience. By contrast, 48-year-old Ilkka Niemisto is a veteran of Olympic Games, and this will be his 5th strongest man competition. Ted van der Pare of Holland is 7 feet tall. This gentle giant bids to become Holland's first ever world champion. James Perry of the United States weighs an incredible 400 pounds. He competes in memory of his friend and training partner, O.D. Wilson. Back after an absence of 2 years, Sheffield's Jamie Reeves is determined to regain the title he won in 1989. Welshman Gary Taylor's record is impressive, a Los Angeles Olympic weightlifting medal and 3rd in strongest man last year. And finally, Danish strength comes in the huge form of Henning Thorsen, 5 times national powerlifting champion and a fierce competitor. Day 1 of the competition for the Tonka Trophy finds us in the capital Reykjavik. Our first event, the truck pull, takes place right next to the Tjornin Lake, and in the short time we've been in Iceland, we've discovered that the weather changes very quickly. This morning it's a crisp, bright autumn day. Preparation for this event starts early, and the competitors are already debating the front runners.
I think in this particular event, James Perry will be the man to beat. He's got the weight, he's got the leg power.
Henning, it's an early start today. How are you feeling?
Oh, I'm alive. I'm always surprised every morning I wake up and I'm alive. It seems like a good day then, at least at the beginning.
Heat 1 focuses in on those 2 competitors, Greg Ernst and Henning Thorsen. The first of 2 rounds where they have to pull 9.5 tons of metal across a 20-meter course. Those lava roads had a bit of difficulty with the officials this morning trying to drive those spikes into the ground. But the starting blocks are there. That's so the competitors can get off to a cracking start, and both are going well. Contrast in styles, Thorsen saying very low, but Greg Ernst is leading at the moment. That's the course completed, 40.80 seconds, a good start for the Canadian, but Thorsen is struggling. He reaches, that will be marked, and that will count later on in terms of distance. HT But there seems to be a problem with that right-hand side. Gary Taylor goes next. Is he looking forward to it?
Ready to go. After the disappointing first day last year, I'm hoping to get a good day the first day this year. But hopefully it didn't go the other way. It's paid off, so we'll see what happens.
This huge harness needed to fit round the awesome frame of Ted van der Paare in Heat 2. Gary Taylor just asking for the tension on that rope to be absolutely right. So a contrast in physiques. Interesting to see how low Ted van der Paare can be. It's 7 feet tall, but he's off to a very fast start indeed. Gary just struggling a little bit, and there's a problem on the right-hand side. That's desperate for the Dutchman. Well, Gary Taylor continues, and it looks as though it could be a fast time. Indeed it is, 35.27. But what on earth happened to Ted van der Paare? We might be able to see that again. Oh, there's the starting block, and the wheel rises on it, and he gets dragged backwards. He goes off in disgust. And there's going to be a few choice words here.
Den var ikke one.
I'm sure we don't need a translator. He's obviously very angry. Now in Heat 3, an opportunity to see the local hero Magnus Vermagnusson, and he's up against Finland's Ilkka Numisto. Look how low Magnusson is on the far side. He's really driving those legs. He wants a good start to this competition, and he's getting it. This looks to be a very fast time, and by contrast, again the right-hand side having a problem for Numisto. Watch the clock, 30.61, almost 5 seconds better than Gary Taylor. Great applause all round. The crowd get what they want, and it's big smiles from the big man. Speaking of big, just take a look at this. James Perry of the United States, the biggest man of all. His physique almost blotting out the skyline. He's up against Herod Badenhorst of South Africa. And for Perry, it's almost a case of the irrepressible force against the immovable object. And I'm sure Perry and Badenhorst are going to get those trucks moving. Good technique from Badenhorst. And Perry just leaning. He's leaning forward, 400 pounds of body weight, and that's what's moving the truck, as well as great strength in his legs. Badenhorst going well on the far side, 37.10, and Perry will finish 40.53, the first man to finish on that right-hand side. Exhausted, but delighted with the time.
Happy. Father made me train up here. Had to pull a dump truck up here. Home. I'll live on the farm. Very happy.
Unfortunately injured, Jean-Paul Sigmarsson with Gary Taylor, and looking forward to seeing Jamie Reeves in action.
Amongst the competitors is only one man who has kicked my butt while I was fit. It's Jamie Reeves. So he must be the favorite.
How many events do you think one man will have to win to make sure he wins the title, World's Strongest Man?
At least 3 events. Let's say 3 to 4 events.
That's something Jamie Reeves would love to do. He prepares for the next heat, and next to him, Ilkka Kinnunen of Finland. This should be an interesting competition. Certainly Reeves the stronger of the two, but as we've come to learn during this contest, this right-hand side is the more difficult lane. Reeves is going well. Over 20 stones body weight, tremendous power in the legs. The breathing now becomes difficult. And Jamie Reeves just struggling a little bit. Ilkka Kinnunen as well. Can they finish? Come on, Jamie. Oh, well, he thinks it's easy. 52.45. Good time. Kinnunen finishes as well. That was a good competition.
You know, to win this competition, you need 110% effort. We'll see who's got that after 3 days.
The officials have been very busy down on the course. Because of the problems in that right-hand lane, every competitor has had one in the right and one in the left, and their aggregate times will count towards the final score. James Perry is in the lead. Jamie Reeves is in second place. And we saw that earlier problem with the starting block and the lorry being stuck. So Ted van der Para has been given a third attempt to make amends. There is a pacer in the other lane to try and push Ted van der Para on towards a good time. He needs somewhere in the region of 38 seconds to beat James Perry. He's full of determination now. The clock ticking down, but he's very close to that line. He's squeezing every ounce of energy out of those legs and his back, and 36.46. He's got it, and he knows it. So maximum points for Ted van der Para, a great start. James Perry in second and Jamie Reeves in third. Good starts for them. Gary Taylor is back in 8th place. Ted, a late finish, but you won the event. That's a great start for you.
It's a great start for the beginning of the competition, yes.
Do you find that in that event, it's all about body weight, but your height as well? Was that a disadvantage or an advantage, do you think?
It is a mix. It is your body weight and the technique. When you can mix it with each other, then you can do a good truck pull.
What sort of training have you been doing for this event?
Only truck pulling.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And what about your relationship with O.D. Wilson? You said right at the start you were dedicating this to O.D. Tell us about him.
He was a great friend. He's like my big brother. I have no brothers. He was O.D. He took me on his wing. He helped me. He taught me a lot about winning. Taught me a lot about putting in effort. So he started me off. Now I'm very happy to be here and dedicate to him.
O.D. was certainly a great showman, and he would have loved this next event, which takes us right into the heart of the city, to a giant outdoor chessboard for an event in which, like chess, tactics, nerve and technique play a crucial part. It's the deadlift. The competitors can attempt a maximum of 6 different weights, but one failure means instant elimination. The psyching up and the tactics have already begun. And official David Webster is used to this.
Does Magnus want to come in at 402.5 if he can wants to?
Okay, still. James, okay, 402.5.
I wouldn't ask for 415 if I didn't think I could lift it. So I hope I don't miss it now. So
I don't think he will.
We've got to stick together. We're only 2 Englishmen on Ireland.
Welsh, excuse me.
Sorry, British people.
British, I'll do that.
Gary putting Jamie in his place, and Jamie's been successful at 415 kilos. The bar has now risen to 425, and this is Magnus Ver Magnusson. Imagine, this is round about the weight of a small family saloon car, and it's that easy. And the crowd certainly like that. A good lift from Magnus Ver Magnusson. Debbie Reeves keeping a watchful eye on the scores of all the competitors, and of course of her husband's as he comes to the bar with 425. Unfortunately, Gary Taylor failed at this weight. Those slippers he's wearing, not weightlifting boots, but they do put him in a good position, and the weightlifting straps helping with safety as well as grip. It's an enormous strain on the body, but he's got it. That's 930 pounds. Well, that's Jenny Ernst recording for posterity Greg's next lift at the same weight. This 23-stone farmer is already a big favourite with the crowd. And listen to this.
Come to me!
Slowly does it. Shaking a bit, but he's got it. He's enjoying this, and he's really milking the crowd. Well, Jenny says yes, and Greg is feeling good.
You got to get a psych on for these things, you know. It's been a long time since I've lifted weights like that, and it feels pretty good so far. I got a little more there, a little more.
And more weight it is for Greg, 440 kilograms, along with Reeves, Badenhorst, Perry and Numisto, and of course Magnus Ver Magnusson, who's deep in thought. Misto and Perry actually failed at this weight, and Magnusson has passed, so it's now up to Bloemfontein's Gerrit Badenhorst to put the pressure on the rest. Oh, that was so easy. It's left the crowd gasping. Jamie has actually passed up this weight as well, so it's back to Ernst with his 6th and final lift of the competition. He says some of his strength lies in his hair, just like Samson. He's been lifting weights for 20 years. This must be one of the hardest. Failure this time.
My back said, it's had enough. My mind said, come on. My back said, oh, let's take a recess. Let's stop and think about it.
Attention now switches to Magnusson's attempt at the new weight of 452.5 kilograms. John-Paul Sigmarsson surely wishing he was out there with him. The legs start moving the back, and finally the chest is pushed forward. Almost arrogant from Magnusson. Badenhorst must now lift at a higher weight if he's going to win this competition. And the bar goes to 465 kilograms. That's an amazing 1,023 pounds. Now, Jamie, is this tactics because you've passed on this lift?
Yeah, I'll tell you when he starts lifting. Between him and me, I'm not going to go again. But I might as well wear him and Magnus out for the next few days.
But he doesn't know that yet.
No, he doesn't know that yet. But he'll know it now because I'm not going. Got a brain.
Well, they say that this competition could be won with a mixture of brain and brawn. And so with Magnusson's next lift at the same weight, Jamie at least will be confirmed in 4th place. That was a remarkable lift by Badenhorst. So can Iceland's pride and joy equal the South Africans' power and technique? He straps himself onto the bar. He sits low. That's a good lifting position. Oh, not this time. Well, Badenhorst is absolutely right. He's got 90 seconds in total to try and get this weight up again. No, he's not going to do it. Badenhorst goes forward to greet Magnusson. The shake of the hands and generous applause from the crowd. And generous applause for every competitor. Maximum points for Gerrit in his favourite event. 4 men, including Jamie Reeves, tie for 3rd. And Gary Taylor finishes in 7th place. You saw that Jamie Reeves passed on that way. Did you think he'd come back into the competition?
I was quite worried about it, because he's also a guy who's, you know, always a guy who tries naughty things, you know. Hey, it's not that. And that's why he's smiling.
No naughty things, no naughty things, just clever brain work.
He's very clever. No, he's very clever, but I think he wouldn't get it. So.
They're laughing now, but believe me, the competition is very serious. That win means 2 men are tied for 1st place. Jamie Reeves in 4th, and Gary Taylor with a lot of work to do. But already, after only 2 events, the competition is really hotting up. Our next event takes us out of Reykjavik for the first time. Iceland has very little in terms of raw materials, but it does have an abundance of hydro and geothermal reserves. In other words, water and heat. And they can easily convert fast-running river water into electricity. And at the moment there are some very serious studies going on to see whether this can be exported to Scotland via an undersea cable. Well, here at this beautiful Blue Lagoon, this huge plant can take underground hot water and turn it into a very cheap form of central heating for the people of Reykjavik. These crystal blue waters are said to have some mystical powers to cure all ailments to do with the skin. But it's not mystical power we're looking for here today. In this 3rd event, we're looking for a combination of strength and endurance in the loading race. This is another head-to-head contest, each competitor venturing out into the lagoon to retrieve 5 barrels, each weighing 200 pounds. Our strong men huddling together as the temperature drops rapidly, and it's Jamie Reeves and Gerrit Badenhorst who brave the conditions first. They've got a maximum of 2.5 minutes to complete the task, by which time they'll have run about 100 metres each, and they've got to carry 1,000 pounds in weight. This is very much a combination of strength and endurance.
Those plastic barrels full of water, that makes them difficult to balance and very slippery in the water. Jamie just struggling with that barrel at the moment, but Badenhorst is going like a train. He's well prepared for this event. His background in rugby and swimming have given him the endurance he needs, and already he's onto the last barrel. He's well inside the 2.5 minute time limit. That's the first error he's made. So he needs one final big effort as he looks over his shoulder to Jamie Reeves, and his barrel is hoisted on his shoulder. That's a new technique. Badenhorst finishes 1 minute 28 seconds, and boy, is he glad it's over. Oh, Jamie's in the water. Now Debbie looks on. That's his wife. She's looking very concerned, but Jamie's back on his feet. He'll be relieved to finish this one. He's absolutely exhausted. And they've got the best seat in the house. Gary Taylor looking very serious about this event indeed. And next to him, Ver Magnusson. Gary Taylor, in fact, wearing gloves, and that might be a good tactic. As you saw from Jamie Reeves in the last heat, looking very slippery. Look at Magnusson, though. He's got off to a very fast start. He's almost sprinting into the water. Well, this is a good competition for Magnusson. And like Reeves, Gary Taylor trying to get that barrel onto his shoulder. Oh, he's knocked one over there. The official just putting it back, so the next time he returns, he'll be standing there waiting for him, and I think he'll be glad of that. Gary Taylor looking very tired indeed. But look at Magnusson. He's a tremendous athlete, this Icelander. 1 minute and 2 seconds. He's delighted with that time. Gary Taylor struggling just a little bit. Still over a minute to go before the clock will stop. So Gary will certainly get points here, but he must get this final barrel up onto the platform. Just taking a rest, but it looks as though he's finished now with his 5th barrel. That will be measured, and that will count. Well, we thought the time that Gerrit set in the first heat was fantastic, but you went a full 30 seconds faster. Did you think you were going to be that fast?
Actually, watching both him and Jamie, I thought this would be more hard than it was.
Very, very hard. Come out of the water, it's like you should walk up a hill with it on your back. Really hard.
You get a well-deserved rest now anyway.
Bed early for me tonight, I know that.
Totally opposite points of view there, and a huge difference in the results. And with the weather deteriorating fast, our strongman will be pleased when this day is over. Now Henning Thorsen lines up with Ted van der Pare, who lost a bit of ground after that great truck pull in the first event. Thorsen on his left-hand side. The Great Dane could do with some good points here. Both men getting off to a very steady start. No sprinting into the water, just a gentle jog, and that might be good tactics. Ted van der Pare actually used to run as a boy. That was the first sport he ever took part in. So he'd be used to this sort of pace, but certainly not with carrying a 200-pound barrel as well. Even Stevens at the moment. And this has certainly been one of the closest competitions so far. And up it goes, 200 pounds looking very easy. This has been a sensible race and a very exciting race. They're locked together now. Can Ted van der Pare put on a little spurt at the end? Now Henning Thorsen's going to take it. 1 minute 12.6, and Ted van der Pare just 2 seconds behind him.
We did it, mate. We did it.
They certainly did, and the top times all came from those first 3 heats. And the win went to Iceland, their first in this year's competition. Thorsen produced his best of the day, and Jamie Reeves, though exhausted, took 5th place. Magnus, it's always difficult being a defending champion in any sport, but in World's Strongest Man it looks to be even tougher. Are you happy with your first day?
Yes, I'm quite happy with it. I wish I would be leading with some more points though, but Going okay.
Well, a 3-point margin is not bad after some very close competition. In fact, 3 different winners in the events today. Jamie Reeves will be pleased, an equal third with the 7-foot Dutchman. And Gary Taylor leads lots of points over the next 2 days.
For the first event on day 2 of World's Strongest Man, we've travelled 2 hours north of Reykjavik to Gullfoss, where the river Navita plunges over 100 feet into the gorge below. The creamy colour of the water as it cascades over the rocks is a clue to its origins. It comes from the Langjukol Glacier. This monument overlooking the falls is to Sigridar Tomasdita, Iceland's first conservationist who campaigned in the early 1900s against the diversion of the river for a hydroelectric plant.
She won that campaign, and now this incredible area is protected under Icelandic law. The first event on day 2 is all about lifting rocks, and the competitors will be wondering what the weather is going to do next. It's absolutely foul. So will this make any difference to the competition?
We're the strongest men in the world, so we can do these things.
So says Greg Ernst as Magnusson strides towards 120 kilograms of stone. Half the competitors have already been eliminated here. The combination of rain and spray from the waterfall making a solid grip absolutely essential. And a grip is very difficult to achieve. Just cradling it onto his chest. Then he wants the grip. This is only 6 kilograms under the world record. And doesn't he make it look easy? What a beautiful lift. Now it's Jamie Reeves' turn at exactly the same weight. He's been watching Magnusson. The technique is there. That's an incredible picture. Now he's got to use his legs, a little twitch, and it goes up easily. Badenhorst prepares to go next, and Jamie Reeves recovers from that good lift.
My masseur's getting me warm now, so I'm feeling a bit better.
Badenhorst looks as though he's pinched Magnusson's hat. I don't know whether that's got any magical qualities about it. But I think they need all the protection they can get from the elements. That looked very easy indeed. He's really bending his back. The arms go underneath, and that's a technique we haven't seen before. Oh, well, it's under control, but only just. And that shows you how heavy these rocks are. 5 men needed to bring on the next one.
I managed to get it easy on my chin and on my head. The problem is to control it. You know, it's like bending over your wrist. Of course, you know, the stone is quite wide, but it's getting easier now.
Well, I'm glad he thinks so. The next weight is 130 kilograms, which is about the same as trying to lift Jeff Capes above your head. If he's successful, he'll break the world record by 4 kilos. That was set by John Gamble in 1983. Tremendous encouragement from the crowd. That's the referee in the background, and he says yes, he's got it. Jamie, we've just seen a world record in the rock lift, but you've passed this weight. Why?
Like I said earlier, you know, it's so cold. I feel as if I've only got 1 lift left anyway, and my 6 attempts. So I'm not really bothered about a draw. You know, I'm just take 1 lift and go for a win.
Do you think that's going to be good enough to win this competition?
I'm not sure. Both Jamie and Badenhorst have been doing pretty well. So, but I hope it's enough.
I'm sure he does. And with Reeves passing, it's up to Badenhorst yet again. There goes the bending of the back. The weightlifting belt, of course, to protect that lower back. And he's fighting for control. He's got to get that left hand underneath the rock. Now, will he use the same technique as before? Oh, there was a bit of a thump there. He's failed it. So Jamie Reeves comes in with this new rock at 135 kilos. If he's successful, not only will it put the pressure back on Magnusson, but it would smash the world record yet again. Like Badenhorst, he's having a few problems here with control. The twitch of the legs, that looks good.
As good as any other one! What's the matter with you?
Now, what went wrong there? Answers on a postcard, please. It looked good, but the referee said no.
I thought it was as good as some of others. I'm not saying it was a fantastic lift. I'm just saying it was as good as some of earlier ones, you know, what other people had passed.
Arguments over, but not forgotten. And it's last year's champion who wins his second in a row. Badenhorst still going strong, tying with a disgruntled Jamie Reeves. And Magnussen extends his overall position. Ted van der Pare moves up to fourth. And Gary Taylor improves by 1 place. The giant Perry seems to be dropping out of contention.
So after Magnus Ver Magnussen's magnificent victory in the rock lift, we move just 5 minutes down the road to a site which gives its name to the most spectacular of all natural phenomena. Yes, you've guessed it. This place is called Giza. And what do you think about that?
Explosive power is what Event 5 is all about. It's called Thor's Hammer. Van der Pare has had success all the way in this event so far. The object of the exercise, to throw the hammer, a 30-kilogram block weight, as high as possible. They use 2 hands, and like in a high jump competition, only 3 attempts at each height are allowed. And this is Ted's first attempt at 4 meters 90. Oh yes, the big man is pleased with that one. And the rest can only stand and stare. Those competitors left in have each had 2 failures. And this will be Badenhorst's last attempt, and he's got it! Jamie Reeves' turn now. He knows this event well. They're in a slightly different form in the Scottish Highland Games, where the weight is 10 pounds lighter, and they throw it with 1 arm only. This is his final attempt. Well, that's the message to anybody who might think Reeves might be weakening. This could be a very good event indeed for Gary Taylor. The weather is warming up, and the Welshman looks as though he's about to breathe fire. He's certainly got all the physical qualities gained from years of explosive weightlifting. And like Reeves, this is his final attempt. Oh, it just scrapes over. The PE instructor is really steaming now. This competition now goes on to the new height of 5 meters. That's nearly 16.5 feet. That height is almost equal to a London bus. And if ever you've got difficulty getting upstairs, the solution is simple. You get this man to throw you up. And Ted van der Pare could make a real impression on the leaders in the overall competition if he's successful. 4 are left in the competition, and all have failed once. He's certainly got an advantage by nearly being a foot taller than most of the others. Oh yes! Well, now it will be Badenhorst's final attempt. He'll take 2 very simple swings, and then the lift. Oh, so close! Frustration for the South African.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, Reeves goes next, chasing the only man clear, Ted van der Pare. And Gary Taylor has got 1 more chance as well. Come on, Jamie. That very strong back. Well, it certainly seemed to have the height, but it didn't make the distance. He can't finish in any worse than 3rd position. So a good chance for Gary Taylor. Already his best performance over the 2 days. And now it's all down to his reserves of power. Can he turn it on? Even Ted there offering a bit of encouragement. Oh, that was so close again. Unlucky for Taylor, but that gives the Dutchman his second victory and maximum points. Jamie yet again in the top three, and Gary Taylor beats both Badenhorst and Magnussen. Magnus still heads the leaderboard, but Reeves is now only half a point away from second position. Van der Pala is closing, and Taylor moves up again into seventh. The top four are breaking away from the rest, and with 3 events to go, can anybody catch Magnussen?
You said before you came you'd like to become Holland's first man to win World's Strongest Man. Do you think you can do it?
No, not now. It's Magnus is 2 ahead in front of me. It's difficult to beat him now. You can't beat him, but then he must have some injury. That is what I don't hope for him.
On a day that started in terrible conditions in Gullfoss, we return to Reykjavik by the light of a glorious sunset.
Welcome to the final day of World's Strongest Man. Once again we're in Reykjavik, and this is the Summit House. Because Iceland is midway between Moscow and Washington, this became the perfect venue for the historic meeting between Ronald Reagan and Mikhail Gorbachev in 1986. And this house, in its time, has been the French consulate and the British consulate, and it's had many famous residents, including Winston Churchill and Marlene Dietrich, and it's even said to have a ghost. Well, today it becomes the venue for a head-to-head battle between all our competitors in the forward hold with the Viking axes.
It's the original Viking, Jean-Paul Sigmarsson, who can't stay away from the action. He's just showing how the 28-pound axes should be held. Shoulder height and arms straight for as long as possible. Another bright but bitter day, and the Summit House acts as temporary refuge for our 10 strong men who are beginning to get psyched up for this last day, and a chance perhaps to catch the overall leader.
Magnus, you've been number 1 now for 2 days. Can you stay there?
I'll try. It's a very tough competition, very close, so anything can happen.
Jamie, 3 events to go. Can you catch him?
It's not can I catch him, I'm going to catch him.
What would it mean to you to win World's Strongest Man in your home country?
Everything. It's very important.
To you and to the people of Iceland?
Yeah, it's to me. I'm doing it for myself.
Well, there's no doubt at all about where his ambitions lie. And now he leads out James Perry from the same door where Reagan and Gorbachev emerged 6 years ago. That was a major event in this country's history, and that was at a time when this man was Prime Minister of Iceland, Mr. Steinrigar Hermansen.
Start!
Look at the contrast in physiques between these two men. Both trying to achieve exactly the same success in holding up those axes for as long as possible. Perry seems to be leaning away to one side, and he's gone very early, and compare that with the rock-solid approach of Magnussen. That's the same as holding up a car battery, and he's going 40.64 the time. That is the target everybody else has to beat. Now Badenhorst tries to whip up some enthusiasm from the crowd for himself and for Ilkka Kinnunen. South Africa versus Finland. Those axes should be kept at shoulder height. If they're not, the referee will give them 1 warning, but after that, it's elimination. Badenhorst looking very comfortable, but already Kinnunen beginning to shake, and when that happens, it's going to be very difficult to maintain control. He's going to make an early exit from this competition, I think. Badenhorst paying no attention. Kinnunen goes out, 30.24 seconds. Now Badenhorst beginning to struggle just a little bit, but this is going to be an excellent time, 51.21. That's beaten Magnussen's time by 11 seconds. Now Jamie Reeves and Greg Ernst do battle with the axes. The win here would do Greg Ernst prospects no harm at all, and the same goes for Jamie Reeves. Greg just adjusting the height, and in fact it looks a little bit higher than Reeves, and that's surprising because Reeves is 3 inches taller. And look at the grip that Ernst has got. He's overlapping his fingers, and that will be a disadvantage. Already he's struggling. He just made a slight adjustment there, and that's going to add to his time. He goes 23.13 seconds, and Reeves goes on. Reeves wants this victory badly. Even Greg Ernst giving him some encouragement. 50 seconds plus, 51.56, yes. Badenhorst knows he's been beaten by a better man. Now Gary Taylor and Henning Thorsen do battle. Gary Taylor there having the same grip as Greg Ernst. Henning Thorsen even got time to wink and blow a kiss, and Gary Taylor must be thinking it can't be that easy. They've certainly got a good time to chase now. Thorsen just shaking a little bit. Gary Taylor looking good. Thorsen's on his way out, but still a good time, over 40 seconds. Gary Taylor's going to go ahead. Yes, 54.24, a tremendous time. Jamie Hedrick's had a fantastic time. You beat it, but I think Gary's just beaten your time.
Congratulations. Thank you, big pal. Well done. Well, as long as if we get 1 and 2, whichever order, you know, I'm not really bothered.
The last pairing, Ted van der Paarde looking very determined. And a chance to see the legendary Ilkka Niemisto in what is almost certainly his last championship. Tremendous difference in height between these two competitors. You can see the strain written all over Niemisto's face. He's going. 40 seconds plus, that's good for Niemisto. Van der Paarde shaking, and I just wonder if his arms are absolutely straight. The judges will be taking a careful look at that. He's beaten Gary Taylor's time. Oh, tremendous, 59.24, and if that is confirmed, it'll be yet another victory. And the officials do confirm the victory by Ted van der Paarde and the 10 points. Great Britain doing well. They held their end up for second and third position, but the big surprise of this round was that Magnusson was back in 6th place. That means for the first time since the end of day 1, Viking power is replaced with Dutch. Jamie Reeves is certainly in contention, and just 1.5 points cover the first 4. Gary Taylor moves up 1 place yet again. Now you're getting closer and closer to your ambition to become Holland's first world's strongest man. It's very close now.
Maybe I'm now 1.5 point to lead. And 2 more events to come, I don't know. We wait and see.
You said yesterday you couldn't win it.
Yeah, but there's another opinion now. We go for it, but 2 more to come. Anything can happen now.
As Ted so rightly says, anything could happen, as the last 2 events are new to world's strongest man. Pulling 13.5 tons of aeroplane with the arms instead of a harness is a daunting prospect. Once again, the fastest time over a measured course will win, 20 meters the distance. And once again, the North Atlantic climate is so unpredictable. We're still in the middle of Reykjavik, but damp mist could provide problems for our 10 men to keep a firm grip on the tug-of-war rope which is attached to the plane. With the point situation so close, Gerrit Badenhorst will want to get off to a flying start. The firm grip, so important. The referee says take the strain, and what a strain it's going to be. Those starting blocks again hammered into the ground. That gives the competitors a firm grip. It's almost like a rowing action, and good rhythm is going to be so important. Look at that effort in his face. His legs will be burning. His arms are surely hurting now. The clock will stop any moment now, 42.36, and that is a strong target. And Gary Taylor at 20 stones body weight. But look at the size of those arms, 22 inches around the biceps. And that could be crucial in an event where arm strength is very important indeed. It is almost just like a deadlift, but he's got to repeat that exercise about 20 or 30 times, and encouragement coming from fiancée Melanie. She gets the message across. He wants this one. The clock is ticking away. He's very close to the line. This has been a good effort from Taylor. 38.01. Yes, he says. And Melanie likes that one as well.
It's amazing, the rope is so wet. He feels if you've got no grip whatsoever. I'll try to use as much legs as possible. And they work really well.
Ted van der Paarde came quite late into sport. He started as an athlete with distance running. He tried many sports, but then he found weight training. And for this event, he might need to draw on all his physical talents. His height may be an advantage. He's certainly got to get a long pull. The rope just being fed sideways there so it doesn't get tangled up. And the plane off to a steady start, but accelerating now. He hasn't got the explosive strength of Gary Taylor, but he's got immense power in those arms and his back. Getting closer and closer. What a great time, 37.42, the fastest so far. Now, Jamie Reeves' attempt came to grief when the plane got stuck on a camera cable. He has the choice to go again, but has he got the energy? No doubt about the name, it stands out on the very broad shoulders of the man who desperately wants this title for a second time in a row. He's really psyched up for this event. He nods, he's ready, and now the effort. Every time this man steps up to take part in an event, the crowd go absolutely wild. And this clapping won't do him any harm at all. It's setting up a rhythm, and that's what he needs to go for a good time. Coming up to 30 seconds, it certainly is going to be very fast. 34.34, that has to be the winning performance. His girlfriend Asta, well, she still can't bear to watch.
Well done, great performance.
I need the point against you.
He certainly does. And now Jamie Reeves has decided to go for broke. This will be his second run, but can he produce an upset? It would be an amazing feat. Real Sheffield steel and determination at its best. Debbie says faster and go for it, and he's doing exactly that. His original time of 42.4 seconds looks in danger. It's certainly going to be faster. Jamie Reeves wants this one. He's trying his hardest. 38.4. He's got the improvement. The gamble paid off. Once again, though, Magnusson is the man. He's scored well in this event. He just went ahead of Ted van der Paarde and Gary Taylor. Reeves was in fourth, and disappointment for Badenhorst, who was back in seventh place. So with just one event to go, take a look at the scores at the top of the table. It couldn't be closer. Van der Paarde and Magnusson are tied. Gary Taylor is making good progress, but both he and Badenhorst may be just too far off the pace.
You're 3 points behind. Can you do it?
Yeah, you know, I've been chasing the other guys for the last 3 days, but they don't want to think they're safe yet because they're not. You know, I'll keep on fighting till the end.
Now, what about this last event? How much do you know about it?
I've never seen it before. I just know it weighs around 30 stones in weight. You've got to pick it up onto your chest and then walk as far as you can with it. So time will tell.
You got your walking shoes on?
I will have by then.
Well, having moved back inland to some beautiful weather past Thingvallaten Lake, you must be wondering what Jamie Reeves was talking about. We've come to the most sacred ground in the country for the reenactment of an Icelandic legend. It's the carrying of the Husafell stone. The Guardians of the Rock have allowed us to transport this piece of history to the spot where their religion and parliament evolved. Their tiny church, the River Oxeroo, and a huge crowd create a perfect setting for the climax to this championship. The Husafell stone has to be carried by each competitor. So what are the prospects for our 3 top strongmen?
It's now or never, what I used to say. But I don't know. It's a new advance for me, new challenge. I don't know.
It's like I said earlier, I've been coming from behind all the competition, so that's nothing new. I'll just put 100% into this like I've done everything else, yeah.
Magnus? Last event of the world's strongest man, are you nervous?
A bit, yeah. This is going to be the one for who's going to be the winner. So, a bit nervous, yes.
Well, he's absolutely right. The next few minutes will decide once and for all who will become world's strongest man. And this is what all the fuss is about. The Husafell stone weighs 410 pounds. That's about the size of a small car engine. And Greg Ernst has been looking forward to this event for a long time. Legend would have us believe that this stone comes from a sheep pen and was carried around a circular course. The farthest distance it was carried was about 60 metres, not by the shepherd, but by his daughter. Just imagine James Perry sitting on your chest. That's the pressure Greg is feeling at the moment. Difficulty in looking to see where he's going over the top, but the grip looks solid. He's come all the way from Canada, and I'm sure his strength will not let him down now. He's been lifting rocks since an early age. He's even got a 5-year-old boy who is training, lifting rocks onto barrels. Like father, like son. He's gasping for air, and only a couple of meters to go. Not only might we see a new world record, we could be in the presence of a new legend. He's done it.
The history of this stone fascinates me, and it's truly an honor to stand on Icelandic holy ground with a rock with a history like this, and to finally beat the legend. You know, but what a woman.
Now can Gary Taylor tread in Greg's footsteps? He gets off to a very fast start. He hasn't quite got his arms round the base of that rock. Little stagger there. Gary Taylor gives nothing short of his best every time he steps out and takes part in the competition. But he's finding this just a bit of a struggle now. That rock is getting lower and lower. He's past Thorson's marker and the stone goes down. Gary Taylor knows he's been in one tough competition.
What advice would you have for Jamie lifting the stone?
Just calm down before lifting the stone and take it nice and steady. Take off the shirt, keep the belt loose, and pick it up. Put the stone in high position on chest, and then go for it. And take low strikes with legs. Don't lift legs off floor very high.
Good technical advice from Jean-Paul Sigmarsson, as we see Harald Badenhorst for the very last time in this year's World's Strongest Man competition. He's had a good 3 days. He's been up at the top of the leaderboard and only failed at the last minute in the plane pull. That was when he struggled, and really it was then that he dropped out of contention. He'll be out to make amends in this very final event. One hand held high there, one low. And taking Jean-Paul's advice, shorter, more staccato steps. He's getting a good rhythm. He's looking very strong at the moment. He's past Gary Taylor's marker. A great performance, but now he's beginning to stop to try and readjust the grip. And that was a mistake. Can he go on? Come on, Harald. The crowd is shouting for him. He's slowed down and the Husafell stone is gone. He looks on with disdain. Now Jamie Reeves with his chest covered in chalk. That's to try and get a little bit of extra purchase on the Husafell stone. Lifting the stone is one thing, but actually walking 60 meters with it, just as Greg Ernst did a little while ago, that's a daunting prospect. Jamie Reeves has got all the physical equipment to do this, and to do it well. In effect, what he has to do is negotiate the path, and he has to go to the end, and then he has to turn around and start to come back again. That's what he needs if he's going to go into first place. And just look how high that stone is on his chest. That means he can't see over the top. Goes past Gary Taylor. Now he challenges Badenhorst. Those arms must be aching. The muscles are burning now. There goes the stone. Badenhorst is beaten. Jamie Reeves can still win the title, but it now depends on the last two competitors. The first of them is Magnus Ver Magnusson. 3 days of competition, and he has done really well in all the events he's competed in. Just 1 6th place, all the rest have been at the top of the table. He's prepared well for this event. Sticky tape round his arms, that's going to help with the grip. Look how low he has to go to pick the Husafell stone up. This is going to go very high, I'm sure. Oh, he's got his hands clasped. That's going to be an advantage. He's the only competitor to have done that. He's round the narrowest part of the rock, and that's good news for Magnusson. He's got tremendous strength in those legs. That's going to help him, but his difficulty is seeing over the top of the stone. He's got a good rhythm. Jean-Paul Sigmundsson's advice once again paying dividends. He's slowing just a little bit. He's having difficulty seeing exactly where he's going. The crowd is shouting for Magnusson to carry on. He's losing it. The Husafell stone has gone. He's behind Jamie Reeves' marker, but for the time being, he's in the lead overall. Iceland putting on a show of real natural beauty as we come to the final competitor to challenge for this trial of strength and the title of World's Strongest Man. Ted van der Pare, he's prowling about like a caged lion. He's looking very calm, but could this be the calm before the storm?
Whatever anybody says, Selwyn, about me being a bad sport, it's just not true. Not true.
Well, their fight is over, but van der Pare's is almost just beginning.
Hold on. It's been a tough one. I don't think it come no tougher. Sticky. He had sticky on his hands. Referees. Referee.
Well, no referees will affect van der Pare's concentration now. He knows exactly what he has to do. All he needs at this point is to go past Jamie Reeves, and he's assured of the title he so badly wants. And how's that for technique? Compare that with all the others, and it's appalling. He's relying on sheer brute strength and those incredibly long arms. The Husafell stone is locked into his body. The legs are moving. The arms will be aching. He's puffing away. He's going to know exactly where to drop the stone. I'm sure he's forgetting Greg Ernst and the 60 metres or so he covered. He's coming up to the marker he wants. He's looking for it, and he's got it. He finishes in 4th place in this event, but he takes the overall title.
Finally it goes to Holland!
Ted fulfills his dream after doubting his ability. He's won the competition. Jamie Reeves and Magnus Ver Magnusson tie for 2nd. Magnusson winning 3 individual events, and Jamie placing in the top 3 6 times. Gary Taylor charged into 5th, and Badenhorst had a good competition as well.
Congratulations. Thank you. Great job. You did it last year. I did it now.
Yeah.
Why not?
I'll do it again next year.
Okay. I'll keep the promise.
You know, if you come second to a better guy, you just have to come back next year and try harder. So I've no grumbles. If I get beaten, then that's fair enough. You know, I'm a good sport about that.
A few bumps and scrapes over the last 3 days there.
A few. You can say that again. I feel like I've been in a car crash.
The rostrum is already groaning under the weight of our runners-up, but all the competitors applaud the winner. The weather has been changeable, to say the least, but the scenery spectacular, and the competition, it was a classic. The final act, as marketing manager of Tonka Toys, Graham Darby, hands over the Tonka trophy. And Ted van der Pare of Holland holds that trophy aloft. He's the world's strongest man for 1992.
Fer ekki